Today, we're diving into a really groundbreaking new AI called DeepKEGG, and it's poised to completely change how we predict something that millions of people worry about, the recurrence of cancer. You know, for anyone who's been through cancer treatment or knows someone who has, this is the question that looms larger than any other. Predicting if it will come back is one of the toughest puzzles in medicine. But it's a puzzle researchers are now tackling with a seriously powerful new partner, artificial intelligence. And why is it so tough? Well, it really comes down to a mountain of data. Today, we can get an incredible amount of information from patients, their genes, their cells, all this stuff we call multi-omics data. It's kind of like having billions of puzzle pieces for every single person. But figuring out how they all connect to tell a story about someone's future, that is a massive, massive challenge. Now, AI is amazing at finding patterns in huge piles of data. But in medicine, it's always had this one giant problem, what we call the black box. A typical AI might say, yes, this patient's cancer is likely to return, but it can't tell you why. And for a doctor, for a researcher, that lack of an explanation, it's a huge barrier. You just can't fully trust it. And that's exactly where this new model from a team led by Wayland comes into the picture. It's called DeepKEGG, and it's built from the ground up to tackle both of those problems at once, the crazy data complexity and that critical black box problem. So what is this thing really? Well, DeepKEGG is an AI framework, but its secret weapon is that it doesn't just look at a patient's raw data in a vacuum. It actually integrates decades of human biological knowledge, specifically from a huge database of biological pathways called KEGG, right into its core thinking process. Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? Let's get into the secret sauce inside the DeepKEGG model, because it has two really clever components that make all the difference. First up is something called the biological hierarchical module. The best way to think about this is that it's like giving the AI a biological blueprint, an instruction manual, before it even starts. So instead of seeing it thousands of random disconnected genes, the AI is taught how these genes are already known to work together in specific pathways. It gives the AI context so it can make sense of the data in a way that a biologist would. Then there's part two, the pathway self-attention module. This part is super smart. It allows the AI to compare lots of different patient samples against each other and learn the subtle shared patterns between them. It's like learning from the crowd. It helps the model spot which biological pathways are really the most important ones across all the patients whose cancer returned. So if you trace the whole process, it's pretty elegant. DeepKEGG takes in all this messy, complex data. It organizes it using that biological blueprint we talked about. It then finds the crucial patterns by comparing patients. And what comes out the other end is the magic. Not just a prediction, but an actual explanation for why it thinks what it does. Of course, a clever idea is one thing, but the real question is, does it actually work? How does it perform in the real world? So the researchers pitted DeepKEGG against several other AI models using real patient data from the Cancer Genome Atlas. And, well, the results pretty much speak for themselves. This chart shows the performance on a liver cancer dataset. A perfect score would be 1.0. A traditional method like a decision tree is basically a coin flip. A more modern AI, MuGONET, does way better. But then look at DeepKEGG. It's just in another league, hitting a score of nearly 0.95. To put a really fine point on it, on this particular dataset, DeepKEGG was over 6% more accurate than its closest AI competitor. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but in the world of medical diagnostics, that is a massive leap forward. But here's the thing. As impressive as that accuracy is, it's not even the biggest breakthrough. The real magic, the real game changer with DeepKEGG is its ability to uncover new biological clues. Because it was built from the start with biological knowledge baked right in, DeepKEGG can finally crack open that AI black box and show us exactly what's going on inside. This visualization, this is basically the model showing its work for liver cancer. It's not just giving an answer, it's giving us a map. It's highlighting the specific genes and pathways that it found to be the most critical drivers of recurrence. This changes everything. The AI goes from being just a predictor to being a powerful tool for discovery. And we're not talking about random guesses here. For liver cancer, DeepKEGG pinpointed several genes and microRNAs as being key biomarkers. And get this, when the researchers went and checked the scientific literature, they found that many of these, like CYP2E1 and TRAF6, were already known to be involved in liver cancer. It was real-world validation that the model was onto something important. As the authors themselves put it in their paper, DeepKEGG isn't just for making predictions. It's a powerful and effective new engine for actually discovering the biomarkers that could lead to the next generation of treatments. So, when you step back and look at the big picture, what does this all mean for the future of medicine? It really points to a new and, I think, much more powerful partnership between human intelligence and machine intelligence. The biggest takeaway here is that DeepKEGG isn't just a better algorithm, it's a totally different way of thinking. We're moving away from purely data-driven AI toward this new kind of knowledge-infused AI. By literally teaching the machine to think more like a biologist, we're creating tools that are not only more accurate, but also more transparent, more trustworthy, and way more useful for research. And that just leaves us with this incredible thought to chew on. Cancer is just one incredibly complex disease. So the real question is, what other major diseases, what other medical mysteries could we finally start to unravel by fusing all of our hard-won human knowledge with the sheer power of artificial intelligence?